Millennials and Gen Z are doing worse financially compared to other generations. In fact, they are the poorest generations to ever live. The older generations, the baby boomers born between 1946 to 1964, and Generation X, born 1965 to 1980, had steady financial growth. But for the younger folks, Millennials and Gen Z, things look different. Their financial struggles are much more obvious. They're with low wages, huge student loans, and an economy that's been hit hard by many crises. So, the belief that each generation will do better than the last is being questioned. There's a shift in how different generations earn, and it's not looking good for the young ones. The question is it just a dream for Millennials and Gen Z to do better than the older generations? Well, let's explore that question. What if the money you have doesn't buy as much as it used to? This might not be just what if. Let's go back in time. There was a period when paychecks grew steadily, keeping up with the cost of everything around us. But at some point, this trend began to slow down. Prices kept rising while wages didn't. Think about trying to buy the same things your grandparents did: a loaf of bread, a gallon of gas, or a simple house. The prices today would surprise anyone. And it's not just because everything used to be cheaper. Our buying power has been weakened by worldwide economic changes and problems we can't control. The result? Life has become more expensive. Things we used to take for granted, like starting a family or buying a house, are now luxuries for many. This is the tough economic reality that younger generations like Millennials and Gen Z are facing. Indeed, the economic situation is changing, and it's not in favor of the youth. Have you heard how much college costs now? It's gone way up in the last few years. What used to be easy to pay for is now a big money problem. The cost of AA has gone up a lot, and it's much more than the average person's pay has gone up. Here's something crazy. The student loan debt in the US is now over $1.5 trillion. That's a lot of zeros. To understand how big this is, think about this. Your grandparents or maybe your parents could work a part-time job to pay for school, but for students today, that's pretty much not possible. Owing money when you're just starting out as an adult affects a lot. It can make it hard to buy a house, start a family, even move out of your parents' home. And it can also be really stressful. Owing so much money can make you anxious and depressed. Many young people today start their adult life owing a lot of money. Scene script. Have you noticed that fewer young people own homes these days? It's not just because of fancy breakfasts or coffee. Today's housing market is tough, with high prices and low wages. The challenge for young people isn't just buying a house, but also dealing with the growing trend of renting. Lots of young adults now rent homes, changing what home means to us. This change is really a reaction to the money problems younger people face. Let's talk a bit about the American dream. Remember the idea of owning your own home with a white picket fence? That dream is changing for young people. Now many just hope for a place to live that they can afford. But it's not all bad news. Different housing options like shared living spaces and small homes are becoming more popular. These options give young people a place to live and help build a sense of community. Owning a home used to be but now it seems just out of reach for many. Are steady jobs disappearing? It looks like it, as we see more gig jobs replacing the old 9-to-5. Instead of having one fixed job, people are doing freelance and contract work. This change has some good points. It offers flexible timing and the chance to pick the work you want to do. But there's a downside: no work benefits or retirement plans, which used to be a big part of having a job. Here's another change. With more machines and computer systems doing regular tasks, there are fewer jobs out there. That's why it's important now for young people to keep learning new skills and be ready to change. Because in a world that's always moving forward, learning isn't something you do once. It's a lifelong journey. In today's changing job market, young people are finding it hard to figure out their path. What if your race or gender decided how much money you have? A hard-hitting question, but it's important if we want to learn about the money problems faced by Millennials and Gen Z. The reality is, past financial unfairness still affects us today. Let's talk about how race and gender can affect how much wealth a person can build. It's a tough truth that money often goes hand in hand with race. Unfair systems like biased lending and poor education have led to a wealth gap that's tough to close. Just like that, women too have often been at a money disadvantage because of unequal pay and fewer chances in high-paying jobs. These differences are not just data points, they are real obstacles for many people. But what increases these differences? The problems are complicated and interconnected. Limited access to good education, housing bias, and wage gaps all create an unfair system. These problems spread like ripples in a pond, affecting generation after generation. Even in these tough times, there's still hope. Experts offer solutions like changing laws, teaching about finance, and hiring more inclusively. These won't fix everything right away, but they could help a fairer future. To truly understand these problems, we need to hear from those directly affected. Stories of people who keep fighting for financial safety, no matter what. Their battles are real, their strength uplifting. Money problems can be a harsh truth many face in their fight for financial safety. But as we keep talking about this, we can start to break down these problems, one step at a time. Do millennials and Gen Z have a different idea of success? As we look more closely, there's a big change from wanting things to cherishing experiences. Younger people are less interested in big homes and expensive cars. They prefer things like travel and self-improvement. Some people think this is because they are struggling with money, but they are missing the point. The real definition of success is changing. Living a life full of experiences brings happiness and helps us grow in a way that owning stuff doesn't. A good life is about the memories we make, not the things we own. Social media also plays a part in this. On one hand, it makes us want these experiences. It can make us feel like we're not doing enough. But it's a great way to celebrate the non-materialistic things in life. This change in what's important could also have an economic impact. It could help the travel industry grow and promote a more sustainable lifestyle. This change in values is affecting the economy in unexpected ways. Younger generations are finding their own way, even if it looks different. And as they change the meaning of success, we're reminded that being rich isn't just about money, it's about experiences and a good quality of life. Is there hope for these struggling generations? Yes, there is, and it's getting stronger every day. More people are learning about money. They are using things like online classes, podcasts, and phone apps to understand how to manage their money. But it's not just about personal growth. New ideas are being shared to help fix these financial problems. Charities like the Mission Asset Fund are helping. They give financial advice and support to people in poorer communities. These actions are not only reducing the wealth gap, but also helping people take control of their money. Success stories are popping up everywhere. People are beating the odds, getting out of debt, and making money in new ways. They show that change is possible. But this isn't something you do by yourself. We need to work together, share our resources, and learn from each other, so let's be hopeful. The tools and support for managing money are there, and are easy to get. It's about reaching out, taking them, and using them to make a better future. Despite the hard times, millennials and Gen Z are finding ways to manage their own money.